0 turnovers, that's a step in the right direction.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast, bonus edition. Got my man Ben Taylor from the Auburn Network in here. We're going to have some fun talking about an Auburn win, maybe an Alabama loss. I don't know. We'll see what happens. 0 turnovers. That's a big
bait.
step.
That's bait for me to say something.
That's a big step in the right direction. Is the template to win running the daggum ball? I'm not sure that I'm convinced yet, but we'll talk about that. And then defensive adjustments that we'd like to see. We'll discuss all that in just a second. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to roback.com. Use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off your order. Polos, hoodies, pullovers, whatever. I got a polo. Actually, not a polo. I have a hoodie on right now from Roback. Love it. Feels great. Save big. Coupon code BARN20 takes 20% off your order. Show them some love. It's roback.com.
Your intro, Kyle.
Yep.
I'm doing it from the home office today. So
I love it.
I was looking for the flat bill that I don't have one near me. Otherwise, I would have grabbed it because it says to get the flat bill. But I'm looking around and I got a couple of their Braves hats. I wanted an Auburn hat to put on just because I'm still booging from the weekend.
Sure.
I will say that I think that I'd mentioned this to you, talked about it with Zach. I thought the key to going into the weekend against Baylor was don't turn the ball over. And the only reason I said that was not because it's obvious. It was because I told you these last 3 to 4 weeks watching all the old Auburn games from last year, it was like I'd forgotten how often we turned the friggin' ball over. And not just how often we turned it, how we turned over in key moments that killed momentum and we weren't able to bounce. They may not have scored off of it, but we would be driving and shoot ourselves in the foot, and then we wouldn't get that opportunity again. So I was like, just hold on to the dang ball. And that's exactly what Auburn did. And I thought that it paid huge dividends. And now my only request is now let's see if we can get the other team to turn the ball over a little bit more and control that. So I know that's a big ask, but I think we're coming up on the next couple of weekends where we possibly can do that and maybe get a little more out of our defense.
Yeah. Last year you started off with a non-Power 5, not even a Division I team. And then your very first one, you turned it over, 5 times against Cal. So this year, obviously, that's a big improvement. It's a big improvement to go from -5 turnovers to -5 in turnover ratio to at least 0. We do got to do a little bit better job of trying to create turnovers. I don't know what you do there. We'll talk about defensive adjustments a little bit later, but that's a step in the right direction. Protect the football. Don't push it. Don't try to get greedy. I will say this. I bet Jackson, I bet the wide receivers, and I bet Hugh were so dadgum antsy the whole game.
Oh, I bet they were
wanting
frustrated after.
Wanting to make a big play so badly, but they did what they had to do. They were patient. And I think that's the key to not handing the ball to the other team is, hey, take what they give you. Be patient, and those big plays will come. I couldn't be happier with the fact that they protected the football. That was something, I'll tell you what, for whatever you want to take from the information from the scrimmages of Jackson maybe or maybe not struggling a little bit, one thing that was consistent throughout fall camp was there was no turnovers. They were not turning the ball over.
Right.
They were protecting the ball. And that's why I always had hope that once his legs were able to be utilized, as long as they're protecting the football, they're going to be fun to watch.
I was happy that he got down. There were some people I saw complaining online about it where they were like, oh, he could have picked up a couple extra yards. I was like, it's game one. Stop asking your quarterback to stick his head in there. And, because on the other end of things, if you watched any SEC football, he looked good, but the quarterback for South Carolina did not get down. And those guys in the booth were constantly going, he can't do this all year. He can't continue to stick his shoulder in there and hit people. Same thing happened with the Michigan game. I mean, they were playing nobody. And next thing you know, Michigan's quarterback, the freshman, the $10 million kid, he's out there sticking his shoulder in there and making blocks downfield. And afterwards, the coach said, yeah, he's got to get out of the way. Like, we need him in game 10. We don't care about game 1 right now. So
I don't really recall him sliding prior to getting a first down. I think he slid multiple times after he got the first down.
He did. Yeah.
I don't know that I remember him ever sliding short.
No, the one that frustrated me was because I was kind of playing online while I was watching it. And there was one where he slid and like nobody was really within 5 yards of it. And I was like, what are we doing? He got the first down and then he got his butt down. Like, that's
smart.
Like, that's a smart thing to do. Do we not Cam? Like, you can't. He can't take. He's got 2 guys closing in on him, and he's like, "Nope, I got the first. I'm hitting my butts on the ground, and I'm totally okay with that. Live to fight another day." But
well, you slide forever on that turf too. He just keeps going. It's.
But was there not? To me, did you not feel like there was emphasis too on our running backs? Like, they seemed to keep both hands on the ball. You didn't see any kind of loose balls.
It was the neck roll. It was Damari's neck roll. That prevented all fumbling.
That actually got brought up in the broadcast. They were like, "You want a running back that has a neck roll?" Like, one of those guys said that.
I said it when we did the live stream. I was like, "He's got a neck roll on." I was like, "This is awesome. He's going to run for 1,000 yards."
This brought you back to like 1997, didn't it?
Or I went way back, but I mean, remember Cameron Petway wore one. He wore like a cowboy collar or something back there, and he was a beast.
He won. That looked like a pop collar, like that cowboy collar thing. That clearly, as every trainer has said, does absolutely nothing for you, but they say it really looks cool when you're running back and you use it. So
maybe it helps. We like to think it helps.
I think it 100% helps. If Damari thinks it helps, it helps. That's my thought process on it. But
he might talking about Damari, I think Hughes said in the press conference he might miss. It's possible he could miss some time. He got dinged up. He ran hard, man. I think came down on his shoulder one time. He might have gone back in the game after that, but really both of those guys were pounding the football. And that's one of the question marks going into the game is like, can they hold on to the ball? And then can Auburn be physical in the run game? And both of them did it.
Yeah, because you and I brought this up on a previous pod where we were saying, because they didn't really talk about any turnovers being an issue in practice.
Yeah.
But then again, you and I were talking about how they weren't really taking more than one lick in practice anyway. So it's tough to judge when it gets game time and they get hit by 4, 5, 6 guys, especially when they're trying to pick up a couple of extra yards here and there. Maybe the ball gets a little loose. So I was kind of worried about it going in. But I think every Auburn fan should have been worried about it from what we saw last year. So I thought that it was a huge improvement on holding on to the football. And like you said, this wasn't a no-name team. Like Baylor's going to be fine this year. They're going to be okay in the Big 12. So they're going to handle their business. So I think that was a big win for Auburn. I think it was great the way they handled it and making the adjustments, which we're going to talk about, which is, running you are talking about running the football. That seems to be the recipe when they give it to you. I mean, you heard all the analysts at halftime and after the game talking about the 2 high safeties, and they read the reports. They knew Cam Coleman was, they got Walker White on their team. Walker White's like, look, every one of those guys can go deep on you. Like that's, so put somebody back there. And so they did. And it kind of took a lot away from Auburn. And I think you said it best. I think they were all chomping at the bit. And if the running game continues like it is, it will do what football is supposed to do, and the running game will open up the passing game down the road.
307 yards rushing, and I think I saw where 176 of those were after contact.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about no turnovers, it's not like you're running wide open and there's nobody touching you. Hard physical football, and you got over half of your yardage after the first contact. So good stuff. We're going to talk about is the formula for this team running the ball. We'll talk about that in just a second. We'll be back right after this.
Kyle, before we hit our last 2 points.
Yep.
I don't usually brag about social media, but I put up this tweet that I shared from AL.com.
That you stole from
the video portion of it.
No,
And it made its way around the internet, and it's basically a fans leaving early for the Alabama game. And I guess it made it
a lot of number one salutes.
A lot of number ones. I love the ones that would freeze it and put 0-1 instead of and use that. I thought it was fantastic. Alabama fans too, online, social media, they're kind of turning on one another now. And
Ben, have you seen this? That's the Google. That's the Google search results. If you type in Kalen DeBoer and then nothing else, that's what populates.
The buyout. My goodness gracious.
It's 63 million, by the way.
I've seen the one too where the people are standing outside of the for sale signs out in his yard. And listen, they got it is a lot of season left. This was a non-conference game for them, but the what I say when fans get, I guess, mad like that and they turn on the team sees it, and so you got to wonder what's going through the team's head as well. I mean, when your fans and your boosters are already questioning the head coach, and we said it though, Kyle. Everybody said it's not going to be a Nick Saban led team. Everybody wanted Saban. It's like that's not what you're getting. Didn't matter who you brought in. They want to point the finger at DeBoer. I don't care who you brought in. It was going to be that way.
No,
even Bill Belichick coming in and taking over, it would have not been the same as what it was under Saban. The standard was different.
The guy after the guy is just that's just a tough spot. That is just a tough spot because you want to do your own thing and do it your own way. You don't want to come in and just copy what the other guy was done because that's not who you are. That's not how you coach. It may not be your personality. And there's going to be a little bit of a, I don't know, growing pain transition. I think they're going to hit some of these, and this is probably not going to be the last one. I don't think they're going to like fall off and go, 6-6 or something like that. But in the new day of college football where everybody has players, stuff like this can happen. Like FSU can turn it around in one season and put some folks, get some players out there and beat you. The crazy thing, they had some like true freshman defensive line just mauling this offensive line. They got some issues. I think they'll get some of them worked out, but they definitely got some issues.
There's a couple of stats that people should realize, and one that sticks out in my mind is Ryan Williams. They talk about him being all-world. Has not had a 100-yard game since Mercer of last year. And has not he's had like a rough 5 games. Like the last
deal is with him, man. It's weird. He's like, it's just as good as he was in that Georgia game last year. I mean, he had 3 drops that I saw with my own eyes, and they were all 3 like egregious drops. Yes. Like not just catchable. They were like one of them was a screen pass.
Yeah. And
he hit him right in the hands. It's almost like he's scared to get hit. I don't know. That's me just reaching.
Yeah.
But something's up with him. Something doesn't seem right. He doesn't seem like the same player he was early in the season last year.
The first half of last year. Yeah. He hadn't been the same since the second half of the season. So, but I say that to say this, as we talk about throwing, talk about running, is that recipe for success for Auburn what it was for years, which is run the ball first. I know everybody loves to talk about the wide receiver room, and they should. But if we're talking about it, the opposing defenses are talking about it, and they're taking away deep balls. So you're either going to have to come with – and I would have liked to see some more underneath routes. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of that. But I think Auburn had kind of a game plan of what they wanted to do, and Baylor came out and was like, nope, we're going to put 2 safety back, and you're not going to do what you want to do. We're going to make you run the ball. Because you heard Hugh say it. You heard Jackson say it. They took what they were given. And it worked.
I want to give Hugh all the credit, obviously. Like you want to give the head coach all the credit. But I don't think what you saw was a lot different than last year. I think what you just saw was a quarterback not trying to play hero ball and just doing what the play allows him to do. Getting, like you said, taking what the defense gives. Like if I see I can get 4 yards, I'm going to give it to the back and let him go get 4 yards. That's a win. 2nd and 6 is a win every single time. So some of the decision making, he gave up big pass opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
He being Jackson, you know, him not pulling it and just throwing it up to Cam. He did take a shot or two but more than not, it was just him looking at his keys that they go over all week long, all fall long. And then if it's very simple, if the guy's there, I'm giving it. If he's not, I'm throwing it. And the guy they were trying to prevent Auburn from being able to throw the ball. So they just ran all over him. I don't know that, though. I don't want to get into a situation to where it's like hold on, let me back up. Based off that, I trust Jackson as of now. I trust Jackson. However the game plays out, more than likely he's making the right call. So if you get into a scenario where we're throwing a little bit more than we're running and we're getting frustrated or whatever, I still feel like he's probably making the right call. Like
that's what he sees. Yeah.
Like that's what he sees. And I don't know the difference from last year to this year. I love the running attack that we have. But man, at any given time that those receivers can pop off. So,
and they're going to be given that opportunity, Kyle, because going into the fourth quarter where then we had to run it to kind of run some clock. So they definitely expected it then, and you didn't want to throw it up because you didn't want to stop it. But going into the fourth quarter, that stat that stuck out to me was on first down, they were averaging 6.5 yards a carry. So you're starting 2nd and 3.5.
That first down play caller was dialed. Derek Nix, the first down play caller, was dialed.
I mean, that was the average. I mean, you're starting every drive at 2nd and 3. Like every team,
or 4 at worst. Just say 2nd and 4 at worst. I mean, that's fantastic.
Every coach in America will take that stat on a Saturday.
Makes play calling a whole lot easier.
Yeah, and so that was literally the first 3 quarters. Now that average went down in the fourth quarter, of course, because we just had to try to run clock and run them right off guard, off tackle, take your 2 yards and lay down on the ground for 30 seconds and then get up and try to eat as much clock as possible.
One of those late touchdown drives, it was before, I think it may have been in the third quarter. Yeah, I think it was in the third quarter. You had 3 completions to Eric Singleton, and they were all like RPO plays where you just read and there's nobody on him. So get it to him right now. And then he turns it. And I was talking with Zach on the live. I was like, that's exactly why you go get Eric Singleton, because he took a catch at the line of scrimmage and turned it into 7, 8, 9 yards every time he touches the ball. So I say all that to say, I think after this game, we'll see a couple more. I think Jackson gets it. I just think he gets it. It's not about being an all-star. It's not about being the hero. It's about executing the play, checking your keys, reading the reads correctly, and making the right decisions. And he did that way more often than not. And this is another thing. Hugh said only 3 of Jackson's rushes were on pass plays. So in other words, of all those rushes, only 3 of them were scrambles. So those rushes were him diagnosing a play and pulling it when he's supposed to, giving it when he's supposed to, doing all the things he's supposed to do. And I feel like when you have a quarterback that gets it, it doesn't even matter if you're marginally athletic, you can have success. But when you're super athletic like Jackson is, it makes you even more dangerous.
I completely agree. And I think the big picture is he thinks, what do we need to do to win? And when you got a guy that's in a leadership role like that will say, all right, I would love to have 250 yards passing, but they're not giving us that. So let's let the running backs eat. When I get an opportunity to get out and get down after a first down, I'm going to do that. So was this game flawless? No. Was it one of the best forms of managing a game to keep from turning the ball over and give free points to the other team? Yes. And I think that's very important when it comes to winning football games. Hey, before we get out of here, defensive adjustments. That was one thing that worried me a little bit. Some of those chunk plays, getting off the field on third down. Did our defensive backs read too many headlines? It's funny because they would look like all-stars on one drive, and then the next drive they just got picked apart. So I'm sure it's some small adjustments that I'm not smart enough to be able to call out right here, but should there be a worry? for people that have heard nothing but DBs are awesome, DBs are great, DB this, DB that, and then they kind of got picked apart a little bit.
I get it. It was mostly they were picking on safeties and they were picking on whoever was playing nickel at that point in time. And they just had a really good mismatch. There's not going to be many Triggs that we go up against, Michael Triggs.
And one of the touchdowns was a blown assignment. I mean, that's what it was.
It was. And also, like, there's a couple of guys that we just let run free on that particular play, that 4th and 9. You let somebody run free, didn't get a hand on them. And then earlier in the game, same thing happened with Caleb Harris. I think some of that's not scheme. To me, that's fundamentals. That'd be like a wide receiver dropping a pass, like if you're in zone coverage and you're an underneath defender, you let somebody get a free release and you don't jam them. So you give the people behind you time to get over the top.
Yeah.
Like that's bad fundamentals. I think that can be cleaned up.
Okay.
And I trust Durkin in that sense. He, even with all of the issues, it was bend, don't break, and they made them have to drive the length of the field. They only gave up that one big play touchdown that I can remember. Most of the others, they were having to go.
Yeah. Multiple
plays, and you had some success in the red zone. You had a stop on 4th and goal. I'm not concerned there yet. I get it, but I'm not there yet. I think they'll be fine. They'll clean up a few things. Champ Anthony's going to be out for a couple of weeks. God, he just can't catch a break. Broken thumb, going to have surgery. But does that allow, an Anquan Fagans to get in the game? And I've said if he figures out he can get in the game, watch out, because he could be lights out. Eric Winters also, does that give him more opportunity to play? He looked good at times when he was in. So you watch out. Some of these young bucks, you give them an opportunity, you may not get your job back.
As I said, not concerned yet. However, if Ball State and South Alabama light us up, I'm going to be concerned.
It's like I was listening to a high school football game one time, and the guy was complaining about the officiating. And he said, I ain't say he's cheating, but I got my eye on him. So I ain't saying I'm worried, but we got our eye on it. How about that?
Got our eye on it.
Does that work? Is that pretty accurate?
That works for me. Yeah. Not saying there's a cause for concern yet, but we got our eye on it.
I got my eye on it. There you go. Guys, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. We'll be back again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.